So as far as how much of this is L-Citrulline, you're probably looking at like 2.66 approximately grams of L-Citrulline and 1.33 grams of actual malic acid. So, you know, you're well below where you need to be. And what's up guys, Derek, moreplates.com. Today we are going to be talking about Athlean-X's new pre-workout. So this is something a bunch of you guys sent me, is the new pre-workout called PRX, Max Strength Energy Recovery. So if you look at Athlean-X supplements, he has his original pre-workout, he has a post-workout protein, muscle recovery product, women's all-in-one protein, omega-3, joint recovery. Interestingly enough, for such a science-based individual, he still sells BCAAs, which I was kind of shocked at, to be honest. So his normal pre-workout, $39.99. Excite has, this isn't the one we're going to be delving into, but as far as I know, this is his like main flagship pre. And then this is the new hyped up one, PRX Max Strength Energy Recovery, makes training hard feel easy. Formulated for max strength and recovery. Doesn't look like the player is working. Watch on Vimeo. Okay, I shall watch on Vimeo here.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive, and there's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute, I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning, and this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs I'm hitting, and I'll never look back, moving on till I get it all.
Okay, if that gets copyrighted, I am going to have to replace it with something that doesn't fit it, probably. It's gonna be a weird song, so hopefully that does not happen. PRX is the first, it's an intra-workout supplement designed specifically for fueling max effort lifting and helping you recover faster and fully between sets. So, PRX, gotcha. Okay, so it's actually an intra. Interesting. I thought this was a pre-workout this entire time. That's what everyone was telling me. As a direct feeder of the phosphagen energy pathway, PRX provides a constant flow of ATP to your working muscles. The strength levels and growth-producing effect you've always brought to your first set will now be possible in your last sets. So let's look at the full label before I give my stance here. So we got Jeff Cavalier in the most unflattering light possible, looking like a dice fest. Absolutely insane. This guy is literally the Grim Reaper coming to fucking assassinate you with how lean this guy's head is. Goddamn, son. Done right, not overdone. Delivers exactly what your body needs, and only that. Unlike other popular energy drinks loaded with caffeine, sugars, and calories, PRX will help you fuel peak performance without fattening your waistline. All right. So it seems like it is sort of performance-based in like a pre-fashion, but it is an intra product. Because I don't see anything that has to do with like fast digesting carbs. There's no cluster dextrin, there's no Vitargo, there's none of this shit. So that's interesting. Supplement facts, 40 calories, 10 grams carbs, 8 of it is sugar from D-ribose, a negligible amount of calcium and sodium, so it's kind of not even a point of talking about it. Comes in atomic lemonade and powered PHT. So he has, okay, this is sort of going to be ranked like a pre-workout because the dosages and the ingredients in particular are things you are traditionally going to find in a pre-workout supplement. So we have L-Citrulline malate. So what is, so 22 servings of L-Citrulline malate in here with 4 grams. So if you've ever seen my breakdown of Gorilla Mode, you can see me explain what L-Citrulline malate actually is. It is just L-Citrulline with malic acid mixed in a vat, essentially, not chemically bonded like would be actual citrulline malate. None of the companies that are using citrulline malate are chemically bonding them together. Rather, they are just mixed in a vat together. And that's fine because even when you ingest it, they're just going to dissociate anyways and become L-Citrulline malic acid. But the problem is people who list it on their label as L-Citrulline malate and artificially inflate the dose to make you perceive that you're getting way more than you think. So this is 4 grams. The efficacious dose of L-Citrulline malate is at least 6. And that doesn't mean that's the most effective. That's just like the minimum to actually get a effect out of it that would be worth actually purchasing. So this is below efficacious dosage requirements. Now, the actual composition that is L-Citrulline, typically you're going to find a 2-to-1 ratio of L-Citrulline to malic acid in these blends. So as far as how much of this is L-Citrulline, you're probably looking at like 2.66 approximately grams of L-Citrulline and 1.33 grams of actual malic acid. So, you're well below where you need to be. And like, it's a bad dose. I'm kind of surprised, to be honest. So in contrast, we have Gorilla Mode, which has 9 grams of L-Citrulline, as well as 3 grams of malic acid. So if you were to actually, artificially inflate the label like we could do, we'd put 12 grams of citrulline malate on our label, but we don't do that. We put it separately and you're still getting the topped out ridiculous dose. Now, obviously, the actual max dose, where above and beyond that yields no additional performance enhancing advantage, is 10 grams of L-Citrulline, and that is where Gorilla Mode Nitric comes in, where we have 10 grams of L-Citrulline and 3 grams of malic acid. So anyways, I'm kind of surprised Athlean would put out a product. They at least put 6 grams, dude. Next, we have Crealkaline Creatine Monohydrate. So this, again, one of those fancy branded versions of what we all know and love, creatine monohydrate. 3 grams, when we know that it is cheap ingredient to include, that you could have just put 5 grams in. So I don't really get why he wouldn't have done that. So, you can obviously say the saturation dose, 3 grams is more than enough if you saturate it, blah, blah, blah. I would rather just see 5. It's a cheap and easy ingredient to add. Why not? Coenzyme Q10. Okay, so I like Coenzyme Q10. However, I prefer ubiquinol myself. The reason being is once you start to get older, it becomes a lot harder to actually create ubiquinol in the body. You could supplement with coenzyme Q10 and not actually produce a sufficient amount of ubiquinol, which downstream is the thing we ultimately want. So in general, especially for somebody in their 40s like Athlean, I would be just replacing this with ubiquinol. And yeah, I'll pull up a study here for you guys to look at. We see ubiquinol is superior to ubiquinone, also known as coenzyme Q10, to enhance coenzyme Q10 status in older men. So, paradoxically, you would think to increase your coenzyme Q10 status, you would just take coenzyme Q10. Rather, the ideal way to do it would be taking ubiquinol. And I would rather, even if it's not for just older men, personally, I do ubiquinol myself, just out of caution. I would rather just use what I know is going to work optimally. So in here, you basically can see, comparing ubiquinone to ubiquinol, which one's more effective in enhancing CoQ10 status in older men, double-blind randomized crossover trial with 2-week intervention phases and a 2-week washout. So down at the bottom, the significant increase in plasma CoQ10 status observed after the 2-week supplementation suggested that ubiquinol appeared to be a better supplemental form to enhance CoQ10 status than ubiquinone in older men. Neither ubiquinol nor ubiquinone supplement affected the measured biomarkers of oxidative stress. So the dosage needed for ubiquinol, in general, I would take no less than 200 milligrams personally. And in general, it's a very expensive supplement, unfortunately. And I'm probably not even going to go to 400 milligrams until I start making it with Gorilla Mind. But for now, I'm taking 200, even though I'd like to take 400. So anyways, as far as 100 of a lesser efficacious version of what you're trying to get out of this, it's a little bit of a low dose, and the preparation actually used here to enhance CoQ10 status is probably not ideal. I would be swapping this for ubiquinol and at least doubling the dose, at minimum. Now moving on to an interesting ingredient, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. So if you've been following the anti-aging space, David Sinclair, Ben Greenfield, guys like that, you've probably heard about NAD at this point. It is, the darling of the anti-aging space, I guess, and a lot of guys are getting NAD IV infusions in order to enhance their NAD status. Now, the reason they're doing that is because it's not actually ideal to just orally ingest this shit. Now, the reason I think that he chose this combination in particular is this study here, where we had, does oral coenzyme Q10 plus NADH supplementation improve fatigue and biochemical parameters in chronic fatigue syndrome? So coincidentally, they are using the combination of the two. However, the dosages are not really, equated in his product, but they're close enough for me to speculate that this might be where they derive their data. in terms of, upregulating energy systems and whatnot. So we conducted an 8-week randomized double-blind placebo-controlled trial to evaluate the benefits of oral CoQ10, 200 milligrams per day. So this is double what's in the pre, plus NADH, 20 milligrams per day. So this is only 5 milligrams higher than what he has in the, well, not a pre, I guess it's an intra, sorry. But you know what I mean? Supplementation on fatigue and biochemical parameters in 73 chronic fatigue syndrome patients. So a significant improvement in fatigue, showing a reduction in fatigue impact scale total, was reported in treated group versus placebo. In addition, a recovery of the biochemical parameters was also reported. These observations led to the hypothesis that oral CoQ10 plus NADH supplementation could confer potential therapeutic benefits on fatigue and biochemical parameters in chronic fatigue syndrome. Larger sample trials are warranted to confirm these findings. So for CoQ10, I already kind of gave my stance on what I would be supplementing instead. I would be choosing ubiquinol, and I'd be using at minimum 200 milligrams. And as far as the NADH, it's already not super well reinforced in the literature that this is going to confer some major anti-aging benefit and or improve cellular energy production and all this shit. But, there's a reason why guys are paying high amounts of money to IV it rather than just take it orally. Now, for the guys who are taking it orally, they're not taking NADH straight. What they're doing is they're taking a precursor like NR, nicotinamide riboside, or NMN, nicotinamide mononucleotide. Now, I might have, fucked up the actual names, but they're NR and NMN. And NR, I believe, is the more reinforced one in the human literature, and NMN is the more hyped up one in the rodent models and is the one that David Sinclair himself uses with resveratrol and metformin and some other anti-aging supplements. But in general, NR and NMN are the orally, bioavailable precursors that are actually shown to at least, NR in humans, NMN in rodents, and, soon there is going to be, maybe it's already out, I haven't been staying on top of it, the data in humans, may be promising as well, but those are actually shown to improve NAD status in individuals who are supplementing with it. Now, as far as oral NADH, no one's really using it, dude. Everyone's just IVing NAD if they're gonna IV it, and if they're taking it orally, they're using a precursor like NR or NMN. I speculate that this is almost like the equivalent to being like, what's better, NAC or glutathione? Now, maybe I'm way off on that, but NAC is a precursor for glutathione and seems to be more effective than oral glutathione at actually improving glutathione status in the body. So I speculate that this is sort of like the same thing. Like, I imagine the precursors may have more therapeutic promise. Like, there's a reason why the top guys in the community are not using this shit. So for me, if I was Athlean, instead of putting in, well, to be honest, I wouldn't even use NAD in a pre or intra workout anyways. But if I was to include a precursor or something that improves NAD status, I would be putting in a high dose of nicotinamide riboside or NMN if the literature supports its use in humans at this point. So for me, this is a pretty skimpy product. And I'm assuming the reason it costs so much is maybe the fact that they use CoQ10 and NADH. Like, these are not cheap raw materials like ubiquinol. Like, I haven't really looked at CoQ10 because there's no point. I would never even fucking sell it. I've looked at ubiquinol prices though, and they're fucking astronomical, dude. So, and if you buy the shit retail, you know how expensive it is to maintain even 200 milligrams a day. So I assume this is what's cranking up the price, because it's definitely not the creatine monohydrate. It's definitely not the L-Citrulline malate. It's definitely not the sugars from the D-ribose. So what is it? CoQ10 and NADH. But even these dosages, I just don't see it, dude. This seems like a hype product to me, and this does not seem to, I don't think this has a lot of efficacy in a practical setting for athletes, and I'm kind of surprised he's selling it. Like, his other pre-workout looks reasonable from what I've seen. It's not great in my opinion whatsoever, but it's way better than the product. Now, I keep saying, pre-workout, like the other one's supposed to be an intra-workout product, but it's like the ingredients used essentially are like a cellular energy formula or something to enhance nitric oxide to some little degree, and or, help lactic acid a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's not, like, it might as well be a pre-workout, the other product too. Like, there's no fucking, cluster dextrin or something in that that's actually going to be helping me do some sort of endurance performance exercise or something like that. It is stuff that is going to be included in pre-workouts. So I might as well classify it as a pre-workout. Comparing it to his other pre-workout, his other pre looks a lot more reasonable to me. So I don't know. It almost seems like this is like a tactic to kind of see, let's try like a pure marketing product and see what kind of margins we can get out of it, selling shit that most people don't know about, like NADH and CoQ10. You know, there's a lot of literature to support CoQ10. There's a lot of interesting literature to reinforce that NADH is a very promising anti-aging, you know, in the anti-aging space and just cellular energy in general. So let's hype it up and sell it for 50 bucks or 3 bottles for 140 bucks, maybe. I don't know, because it seemed like when I just look at this page, it looks like a landing page, like an internet marketer would make. So I don't know, I'm not a big fan of the product personally. His other pre looks okay. This one, not so much. So anyways, that is my stance on it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, check out my blog, moreplacemordates.com. Follow me on Instagram at moreplacemordates. Facebook, Snapchat, BitChute, Twitter, TikTok, Apple Podcasts. If you want to support the channel, you can check out anything I'm associated with in the video description below, including my TRT clinic. It's all telemedicine from the comfort of your own home, as well as Gorilla Mind, nootropic formulas, Gorilla Mode, pre-workout formulas that design myself from scratch. If you want to go look at the labels, stack them up to Athlean-X products, you'll see pretty quick what an actual efficacious formula looks like. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that one. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.